Quite frankly, I stopped counting because after the camouflaged impression of the world premiere, the camo combo, the station wagon and the GTX models, this is now the, I don't know how many videos we have on the ID.7, but it still never gets boring. And with that, hey, and welcome to this new video here at Car Jonas, and welcome to the everyday test of the VW ID.7, Volkswagen's beacon of hope when it comes to the topic of e-mobility. And I know that many of you find the car interesting, and that's why we're thoroughly testing it today. We used it daily, driving it on the highway. Additionally, a long-distance test is also coming up soon. So we really did all the things that interest you. And we're also starting with the vehicle, with our family test. So we are testing how well the child seats fit and if a stroller easily fits in the back. You will find all of that and much more in every single electric car video that we thoroughly test at home in our everyday life situations. So subscribe so you won't miss it in the future, not just because I find it personally very interesting, but also because I believe it can help many of you make purchase decisions. Don't worry, this won't take up too much time in the video because it's still primarily all about the car itself. And with that, we'll now kick off the roundup. And first, an important point, the prices for the large battery are now out. While the 77 kilowatt-hour version, the model we're presenting starts at 53,900 euros, with the larger battery option available from 58,900 and the GTX version from 63,100, so almost 10,000 euros more expensive than the base model. For that, in the GTX version, you get, for example, the full LED matrix headlights. You have to pay extra for them in the standard version package, but they are definitely worth it because Volkswagen's matrix LED headlights are really impressive. They are called IQ Light and they really do an excellent job of dimming oncoming traffic at night. Very good. And not only that, of course, the traffic ahead and illuminate the surroundings very, very nicely. The front is kept very classic, featuring multiple air vents that ensure good aerodynamics, especially noticeable with the low nose design, which significantly boosts the car's overall performance and efficiency. The wheels here are optional 20-inch with sport tires, which significantly increases the WLTP consumption. In the silhouette, you can see the nicely sloping rear end, and here again, the comparison to the station wagon version. Even though it doesn't appear too boxy here, it simply provides more space and typically costs around 800 euros extra. I actually quite like the recessed and complementary door handles. In the city or at home, just like here, the ID.7 is then typically charged with 11 kilo. This means the 77 kilowatt-hour battery charges from 0 to 100% in 7 to 8 hours. And I find it quite practical that the charging flap opens upwards. So far, this was always the case at Volkswagen on the side, but right now, when it's been raining occasionally, it's very cool because the water runs around the charging port, so you don't have that problem. So that moisture tends to accumulate there. Also, you can cleverly position this DC pump directly inside the charging flap. I find it very, very practical and quite well thought out. Personally, I'm not too fond of the silver accent element at the rear of the vehicle. Here in the black version, it still works, but if you now take a white one or other colors, it stands out a lot. With the GTX variants, that's omitted and it turns completely black. The IQ Light tail lights are always available in conjunction with the Matrix front lamps. They come with a completely new design. It's totally distinct from the other ID models, but it's really quite cool and entirely white during the daytime. You'll see it in a moment, but what I really like is how it fans out to the sides. That's really well done. From the back, the car appears a bit wider because of it, especially with that striking red stripe at the bottom, and it doesn't seem as boxy. Once we get to the back, of course, we'll talk about the trunk, and no, don't worry, we won't show it to you in too much detail now. Just all the details you're particularly interested in. And as a short preface, the VW logo will now also be backlit, starting from the time of ordering if you decide to go with the higher light package. Just like that. Down here, you'll find 500 liters of trunk space, and if you fold everything all the way down, it even goes up to 1600 liters. And you can do that easily by just pulling on the side here. Then you assumed a flat surface. You have the double loading floor on top, because you can also set it one level down, which means you can use the space underneath for additional storage. And if you don't have the optional sound system installed, there is even more room available for your belongings. Then you could easily fit an energy kick down there, which I personally find very practical and convenient for various uses. And there's a semi-electric trailer hitch installed, so just pull once and it folds out. It locks securely into place and then it can effortlessly pull up to 1.2 tons, which is quite reasonable too. I know there's more to e-mobility, but with the GTX version, it genuinely adds another exciting layer to the experience, because this is purely rear-wheel drive, and currently that's the only available engine option. I'll overlay a picture now showing how it looks with a stroller in the back, so you get a sense of the trunk space and how well everything fits, making it easier to visualize the storage capacity. All right, now go ahead and do it. Close the trunk and let's shift our focus to the interior. I can absolutely understand why many of you really like the interior here in the ID.7, as it really stands out. If you say that's how the interior is perceived, even with other ID models, they might have fared slightly better in terms of design and customer satisfaction. Now it's like this, it is initially the case with the highest positioned model variant, and other models may follow in the future. I really like this large information display here in the middle, which comes standard with 15 inches, and the AR head-up display is also standard. We'll take a closer look during the drive. I don't think it's bad with this little info screen here in front of me. Other than that, wherever you happen to touch, everything in here always feels extremely high quality. The blue stripe that was removed with the 2024 model year also contributes to this. We already criticized that during the presentation back then. I felt it was too colorful, and now it has been replaced with something different, because everything that's highlighted in blue here will be in a light gray in the near future. It definitely looks more premium, and we already showed you this with the combo version. It's really good for the vehicle, because if you're already opting for the highest trim, why do you always need this blue accent color? The center armrest is really big and offers plenty of storage space underneath, and above that there's the brand new smart climate control system. This is not only electronically adjustable via the various controls on the display, as you might know from other manufacturers. No, it ensures the wind is effectively deflected, which improves aerodynamics, and that's quite clever. But in certain situations, especially at higher temperatures, they genuinely moved up and down almost like a mechanical fan. This distributes the cool air much better throughout the entire room, and for that reason, these small actuators are definitely worth it. Next, let's talk about the steering wheel, a point of criticism from many of you, as it still has the soft touch buttons. I actually don't find the controls that bad. What bothers me personally more is that it's piano lacquer. And even though it's been reduced in the vehicle, it hasn't been completely eliminated everywhere. In the second row, you have as much space as you hardly find anywhere else in current electric cars, because due to the exceptionally long wheelbase and the optimal use of the interior space, you really have more space here than you actually need, offering an unparalleled level of comfort. The driver's seat is currently in the easy entry position, and even at 1.73 meters, I still have so much space back here. So the back seat could easily move forward a bit more, and I could still ride comfortably and enjoy the journey. I like that the seats are somewhat contoured, so you don't get a couch-like surface, but you have good lateral support, especially in curves or on longer journeys, which makes it more relaxing. Additionally, this serves as the center armrest, which includes the ski pass-through for easily transporting longer items, making it highly convenient. ISOFIX is available on the outer seats, and when you install child seats, it actually looks like this in the back here. You then naturally benefit from the greater width of the vehicle. Even though the middle seat is hardly usable anymore, the kids have plenty of room to comfortably relax. And if using one ISOFIX anchor, 2 adults can still travel comfortably with enough space for a relaxed trip. Personally, I like that the material feel back here is exactly the same as in the front. Soft materials up here, a comfortable armrest, and even some ambient lighting in the back. All these interesting topics you don't always see in that specific price segment with electric cars. And yes, I understand you can equip the car at a high cost, but nonetheless, the starting price of around 50,000 euros really packs quite a punch. 3-zone climate control is available with optional seat heating on the outer seats. I really like it in here. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. I didn't even mention the glass roof, but that's super cool too because it can close electrostatically. This results in a bit less light entering the interior. It does this automatically when you turn off and lock the car, or you can manually slide the slider to the desired position. We've given that up now because it stays somewhat bright but doesn't get nearly as warm inside, making the interior more comfortable for everyone, especially during hot summer months when staying cool is a priority. That's it for the roundup and all the static stuff. I'll jump ahead and we'll talk about the driving impressions. When the video goes online, you will have already seen the long-distance test, and that's why I won't go into the driving impression in great detail. We were already able to give you a first impression. And here too, a driving report, which of course becomes even more interesting on the highway. With a large sedan like this, you can still have fun on winding country roads, enjoying the handling with every twist, turn, and scenic view along the way. I like that the mode switch is now conveniently up here, and you can immediately access the different. You can make settings, and in the individual area, you can further adjust the DCC in the settings menu in much more detail and configure it exactly how you like. I really like the fact that there are only 4 different settings available here and that it's not endlessly overloaded. 70 is over here. Let's accelerate briefly. The 286 horsepower really pulls you into the seat. You wouldn't think so, but especially the increased torque provides that electric punch, which has been sorely missed in Volkswagen models until now, and we've already been able to show you this with all other vehicles featuring the new rear engine. And it's really fun driving around here with the car, given its great performance and smooth handling. And on top of that, we have a well-tuned chassis that improves the driving experience. Yes, just like with any other electric car, we also have here a considerably higher weight when compared to a Passat and other vehicles of that similar size and class. You don't notice it at any moment because the chassis has been meticulously optimized to give you the sensation that you're comfortably sitting in a regular sedan and not in an extremely heavy vehicle. Additionally, there's fantastic all-around visibility and a nice, satisfying road grip. Well, the ID.7, doesn't get me wrong, it's already a bit taller, and if you put it next to some comparable sedans, if there's an A6 standing next to it or so, then the ID.7 stands notably taller. But that's all right, and it's quite forgivable because when you're inside the car, you really don't get that feeling at all, and it actually feels quite spacious. There have been limousines where you got in and felt like you were sitting in an SUV. But there are also SUVs where you feel like you're sitting on the floor. And the ID.7 achieves a nice middle ground that makes driving really enjoyable. Then there are also the wonderful massage seats that were previously left out of the conversation. I have rarely seen a vehicle with massage seats that are so exceptionally good. Yes, they cost almost 3,000 euros extra, but they are really worth it, especially the pelvis activation, but also the targeted massage in the back area. That's fun, and not just on the highway, but also here on a stretch of country road. Well, the massage function was nearly always on for me, and that really makes it enjoyable. One point we haven't discussed yet is the towing capacity, because while we had the car here, we went to the gravel plant as we needed gravel for our new container, which we recently bought and plan to use soon. I couldn't drive myself due to driver's license regulations, but with 1.2 tons of towing capacity, it was enough to transport some materials from A to B. And to be honest, that already looks quite interesting with a car like this one with a trailer. It wasn't just a small one hopping behind, it was a substantial one. Yes, I know more towing capacity would be better, we already clarified that earlier. There will probably be an ID.7 GTX version at some point, I think, because the Tourer has already been presented. So that should follow then. Let's take a closer look at what the technical specifications are like. Driving here can be really fun and exciting. But sure, this one's meant for the highway, where it truly shines. We'll start right off with a great point because all new VW ID models with the larger rear motor, which provides a robust 286 horsepower, are allowed to go up to a speed of 180 km/h on the highway. You don't really need a GTX variant anymore. No, in the standard configuration, the ID.7 always runs exactly like that. We saw the ID.7 Tourer, that's the GTX variant, but it still only reaches 180 km/h. So there's no differentiation anymore, only the new ID.3. GTX Performance, that's what it's called, can run at 200 km/h. Let's see when this will finally be released for the ID.7 models. But at 180 km/h, it runs really smoothly and handles very, very well on the road. And you have to say that in general as well. We've mentioned it in the long-term test, I don't want to repeat myself too much. But Volkswagen has really managed to create an almost perfect electric car here. You don't notice the high weight even at higher speeds. As a result, it holds the track well and handles curves very, very well. And you don't get shaken up either because it's a good mixture of comfort and agility, which also definitely applies to the travel assist feature. Because when I activate this here once, I get the lines displayed right in front of me. I see the vehicle next to me, I can accelerate here up to 180 km/h, use the whole thing, and also perform automated lane changes. So if I indicate a lane change while the cruise control is on, it handles it semi-autonomously. It's quite effective, making the entire process smooth and impressively seamless. And especially when accelerating out, that's always the important part. Also very confidently, so he picks up speed quickly and you can make a lane change easily. Very naturally, just as you do it yourself. And that's important to remember, so you don't block traffic behind you and cause frustration or delays for other drivers. What I like about Volkswagen is their excellent sign recognition. They reliably display important info in the instrument cluster and integrate it into the travel assist system, enhancing the driving experience by keeping the driver informed. Sometimes there are one or two small issues with sign recognition when it comes to additional signs. Overall, it's really quite reliable, and you can almost always comfortably drive with travel assist without the risk of getting a speeding ticket or driving either too fast or too slow somewhere, which is a great advantage, especially on long trips. I think that's very good. The standard AR head-up display in the ID.7 makes long-distance driving very pleasant because I hardly ever have to look at the small display. I have everything up there, and if I want to see the map, I can also get it displayed right here on this huge screen. You don't need much more except the consumption values. When driving fast, really maintaining 180 continuously, you can reach 30 kWh in here. But that's completely twisted in my opinion. And if you drive more humanely, you can get under 20 kWh at a speed of 130 km/h. In detail, you probably have already seen that. And then there's only one topic left for us, which is charging. The ID.7 charges much like all the current VW and MEB platform vehicles that are equipped with the 77 quad battery in a span of just under 30 minutes, going from 10% to 80% of its total capacity. Only the larger battery that follows, which will then deliver up to 200 kilowatt of charging power, manages to do it a bit faster again. And of course, I unlocked the charging station with the Maingau energy chip. It's technically an ad, but I honestly have to say I'm thrilled to advertise it because the combination of the app and the charging chip is just the best you can currently get on the market. And on top of that, with Maingau Energy, you get consistent prices. This means no matter which AC or DC charging station you're at, you know exactly what you're paying, and that's without a monthly base fee. And that's why I recommend it to you at this point, especially if you're only on the go sometimes. It's just not worth having an additional base fee, but simply paying ad hoc then. What you have stored in the contract I find super practical, and here on our test drive keys there's always an AirTag so I can find it again, and the Maingau charging chip. That's why you should definitely check below the video and get the app for free to unlock the pillars and explore a variety of other useful features it offers. The charging performance is fine for me. Feel free to write in the comments what you think. Sure, vehicles like an Ioniq 6 with an 800 volt system can do it significantly faster, but at 400 volts that's really perfectly fine. And then you get quite a bit of charging power through the efficiency of the vehicle recharged. And although we won't look at the charging curve here since we did it during the long distance test, we'll still jump inside and check out the software. It still comes with software version 4.0 in this vehicle. But if you order a vehicle now, it will come with version 5.0, including JetGPT. And thanks to the new hardware, everything runs very, very smoothly. And I also like the logic behind it better. For example, these shortcuts in the upper left area, the clear structure, and this overlay of apps across the entire home screen. That really makes sense. And also the integration of apps like a Spotify app, for example, which runs natively on the vehicle and makes it possible for you to listen to the provider's music in your daily life that you enjoy without needing to reach for your phone, keeping your focus on the road. I like it especially for short distances. In the store, there are also more apps available, such as the WeCharge app or games that you can download. Hopefully, there will continue to be more apps here in the future, like a YouTube app or similar ones. I could really picture that, especially for long-distance travel or for people who stay up late. Volkswagen offers a really interesting and engaging gaming app with 10 different games, allowing you to easily and enjoyably pass the time during the charging break. I always think it's pretty cool when you have those neat little click-and-play games included with it. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard wirelessly, and they are really fun to use on this huge screen. So there should be something for everyone, the charging plan and the charging aesthetics. Optimization now comes standard, meaning manually preconditioning the battery or also setting charging destinations and charging locations. All of this works within the software, is really clever, and of course conserves the battery. The vehicle settings are as usual in this kind of slider overview, and it runs really smoothly now without any lag. It's about time this particular feature got an update. And then comes my absolute highlight in the software, which is the route planning. Though already better with 3.2 and 3.5 versions, the 4.0 software is remarkably faster and more efficient in various tasks. Just seeing how quickly the route was calculated here, including suitable charging stops, is truly impressive and showcases the system's ability to optimize travel. You just saw this live, and then you also get a comprehensive overview of the charging points. You get information about what percentage you will arrive with, it shows you how long you'll be charging, and you can also adjust the whole thing. So the remaining range at the destination or the remaining range at the charging stop, and that makes the entry into electromobility is indeed very simple. Now there's really only one point left that Volkswagen needs to work on, and in my opinion that's the app. It has a pretty good overview, is nicely designed, and updates fairly quickly if you check the box in the settings, so you don't have to wait long for new information. Personally, there are one or two missing functions, for example opening and locking the car. A clever feature that has probably saved some people from calling the AAA. And not only that, of course, without this function you can't just drive with your phone either. You still always need the key at hand, which could have been added to the updates for 2024. But what do you think of the ID.7 now? Write it down in the comments. Do you agree with me that it is currently one of the most attractive electric cars from Germany? I'm looking forward to your feedback, and otherwise you can see our long distance test of the ID.7 up here and down here. You can subscribe to the channel to not miss anything like this in the future.